streak in cricket, or for that matter in any sport, is not easy at all. Well, the Indian cricket team did exactly that for 12 years when they did not lose a series at home from 2012 until September 2024. However, it all came to an end when they lost to New Zealand 2-0. They lost the opening test in Bengaluru by 8 wickets, and then in Pune also it looked like India would make a comeback, but that wasn't really the case as New Zealand broke the jinx. They won the test series, and at the very same time India's reign ended. And if we look at the third test that's going to begin on November 1st, there are a lot of things that are going to be at stake for India. Number one is obviously pride. India are basically going to look for a consolation victory, and at the very same time there are going to be crucial World Test Championship points, because remember, despite losing the series, India aren't out of the World Test Championship final race. So let's just see what India's assistant coach Abhishek Nayar had to say about India's preparation, any possible squad additions for the Mumbai test that's going to begin in a couple of days from now. Well, Abhishek Nayar has confirmed that there are no squad additions at all. No, not at all. Every week is critical. Every day is critical. We haven't been narrow-minded in thinking about World Test Championship final. We want to focus on this particular match in Mumbai, which basically confirms that the reports of Harshit Rana being added into India's squad for the third and final test in Mumbai are actually not true. And India are going to go with the same squad minus Kuldeep Yadav, who has been ruled out of this test due to a groin injury and will also miss the all-important Border Gavaskar Trophy. So no Harshit Rana, same pace attack and the same bowling attack remains for India, being led by Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Siraj, Akashdeep, Akshar Patel, Washington Sundar, R. Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja. And if we talk about Jasprit Bumrah's workload here, well, obviously, he has had a lot of overs under his belt ever since the Bangladesh series, but then what Abhishek Nayar has said that Bumrah hasn't really bowled a lot, and maybe by this he specifically means the Pune test wherein Bumrah actually bowled in less than 20 overs. Bumrah has got ample rest, he is very important, and his workload is always in our mind. And if we have to read in between the lines here that Bumrah has got ample rest, which means that Bumrah is going to play his 5th test on the trot at home now. 2 were against Bangladesh, and now in Mumbai it could be the 3rd one in a row, which means a total of 5. Probably because India feel that they really are confident about Bumrah's fitness ever since he has come back from that career-threatening back injury, and now in this case he has pretty much made it clear that Bumrah is going to start for India in the Mumbai test. And if we move to what Nayar had to say about Wankhede pitch, he first of all said that we wish we could curate the pitches, but we don't. And by this, he has all but cleared the reports of India specifically demanding for a rank turner for the Wankhede pitch. He has probably quashed the rumors by saying that, we wish we could curate the pitches, but we don't. But in the morning, I expect swing and seam, and that's obviously traditional Wankhede track. At Wankhede, you'll see pacers with a smile on their face. Well, obviously, there's a lot of seam, swing and bounce in the initial stages or the early few days of any of the Wankhede test matches, and that's what it has always been the case. And if we go back to the India-New Zealand test of 2021, well, Ajaz Patel took 10 wickets in that match in an innings, but then it was Mohammad Siraj's initial spell that proved to be useful for India in winning that test after they had drawn this 1-0. And that's where he once again feels that it's going to be seam and bounce for the Pacers. And if that's really the case, would we see the return of Mohammad Siraj, who was actually rested for the Pune test? Well, that remains to be seen. There weren't any hints on that. But if the pitch does offer a lot for the Pacers, then there's a good chance that India might field in 3 seamers. And when asked about India's possible spin weakness, well, Abhishek Nayar had a very strong statement to say. He said that that's pretty harsh that India have a weakness against spin. There will be days when we get quick runs and sometimes it won't work. Sometimes you want to play cricket in a different way and sometimes result won't go your way. Well, obviously there are a lot of sometimes here from Abhishek Nayar, but then obviously India clearly have a problem against spin, and that's visible by the way the players use their footwork and the kind of dismissals that the most of the players have had. And if we take in for instance a certain Virat Kohli, since 1st January 2020 until 28th October 2024, well, Kohli has had a total of 16 dismissals, in which out of 10 where he has been LBW, the leg before wicket, to spinners, and 6 have been bowled, which means that he has been beaten by spinners. And so is the case with most of the Indian batters. Maybe the focus was primarily more on the fact that you want to do well in the pace or the seaming conditions overseas, and that's why your spin game has fallen behind. But that cannot really be the reason, assuming or even knowing that India were once called the spin giants. Well, moving to what Nair had to say about India's collapses in the first 2 test matches, he said that in tough conditions, there will be times when you don't look great, but as far as the intent is there, it is good. And if we talk about the first opening test against New Zealand in Bengaluru, India were bundled out for 46, and there was clearly no intent to make sure that there's one batter who would be there at the non-striker's end, around whom the remaining batting would revolve. But that was never really going to be the case, and that's why India were bundled out for 46. In the second innings, there was a lot of intent shown, but then it was never going to be enough because you had a lot of catching up to do. Similar was the case in the first innings of the Pune test, that when India had bundled out New Zealand for about 259, India, after they were reeling at about 100, 150 odd or 110 odd for 7, that's when they needed a certain Ravindra Jadeja to play the anchor role around whom the remaining batting would revolve. And had that been the case, India's deficit would have probably reduced from 100 to maybe 40 or 50 odd, and that's where India had multiple collapses, and same was the case in the second innings. And if we talk about Kohli's poor form, Nair said that everyone has worked hard, whether it is Virat or Rohit or Shubman, they are putting in the hard yards. It's about having patience, and that's what I think the India team management would obviously expect out of Shubman, Virat and Rohit, because come the Border Gavaskar Trophy, they would want the 3 stalwarts to perform at their very best against the likes of Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazlewood, and obviously their spin giant Nathan Lyon. And last but not the least, when asked about what are going to be the expectations from the players for the Mumbai test, Nair said that a lot of guys have played local cricket in Mumbai, and obviously they have, and most of them do possess the Khadus mentality, the dogged determination, and know the conditions. It's about self-reflection and going about their game plan, and that's what I think India would want to do. It's going to be a home ground for the likes of Rohit Sharma, Sarfaraz Khan also, and that's where they would really want to do well and make sure that India end the series with a consolation victory. Now for India, there's a lot obviously at stake in this Mumbai test. They would want to finish the series off with a win and make sure that they stay alive in the World Test Championship final race. For New Zealand, obviously, it's also a must-win situation, because if they lose the final test, this would mean the end of their WTC final chances, because New Zealand are currently in a must-win situation. They have to win their remaining 4 matches so as to qualify for the World Test Championship final. What do you think, would be the result of the third and final test between India and New Zealand? And would India play spin better in Mumbai and make sure that they head to Border Gavaskar Trophy with some confidence? You can let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today for all the exciting updates and analysis from the sporting world. Until then, on behalf of my producer Shivam, it's Siddharth Gulati saying goodbye.